there, CPO here, and back to working on the 500, trying to develop a little bit of time as I can to get this thing in the air. But I want to take a quick pause before I continue on with the build to point out something that I think a lot of builders take for granted that new people may not know how to deal with. So because I ran into a situation that made me scratch my head for just a second, I thought, you know what, let me just share that out real quick and show you what's going on and how I overcame it, or will overcome it. And then that way, if you run across the same situation, you'll be armed with information. So basically what I have here is my 500, and I'm getting ready to install the ESC, the motor, obviously the main gear, and I want to set up the tail servo and the tail gyro. Now, you know, this may not be a huge problem for most people these days. I'm working off a fairly old receiver. This is an AR6200. This is a GY650 Tarot MIMS tail gyro. So the issue is, in order to plug in the gyro, as you can see, I've got some cords coming out of here. And basically what I'm going to end up doing is plugging the tail servo into the gyro like this, right? And then this end of the gyro is going to actually plug in to my receiver on the rudder port, and then you plug it in like that. The problem is, actually it would go like this so that your ground is in the right place, but the problem is it doesn't fit in there. Let me get you a close-up here. When I try and plug it in there, there's just no way it's going to go in. And the reason is, it's actually different types of connector on this servo connector from the gyro than is on all the other servos. And so let's talk about that. What is coming out of here is a Futaba style plug. And the difference between the Futaba and like the JR style, which is what that AR6200 is, and what this tail servo connector is that little extra tab. You can see on your right is the Futaba, and it's got that little tab that sticks up above the top. Now if you have a receiver or any type of receptacle that is able to handle a Futaba plug, Futaba style plug, then this will slip right in, and actually quite nicely will kind of guide you so that you can only plug it in one way. Here's a receiver of a Futaba style, and you can see that will plug in just like that, and you actually cannot reverse the polarity because of that tab, and that's what it's there for. But the problem is my 6200 does not have that style of a plug. So I've got a problem with compatibility here between my plugs. Now, looking back at this female side of the Futaba style, a JR style plug will fit into the Futaba. See, it fits in there just fine. It just doesn't use that little blade slot. So anyway, so that's what he got. So I need to plug this into my receiver, and there's a couple ways to go about doing this. Number one, which seems to be a common approach, is just take a razor blade and carefully get rid of that tab. That's quick and easy, pretty simple. Just be real careful, don't cut yourself, don't cut wires. Another thing you could do is swap this connector out with a JR style connector. So use a little razor blade, pop these tabs up, pull these connectors out, and you know, put on a new connector. You may have one laying around. You may have to buy one at a local hobby store or online or something like that, but you could change the plug out. You could probably buy some sort of an adapter. I'm sure somebody sells a Futaba to JR adapter, but really that's kind of the easy way out of either one of these, is just to cut this off or switch the plug. Now, as it turns out, because I have these plugs I'm dealing with, these two are on the gyro, this one's on the servo. I'm going to swap out the end that's on the servo and the end that's on the gyro that plugs into my receiver, I'm just going to swap those out. That way I'll have a connector that will plug into the receiver, and then this Futaba style connector will fit back into the Futaba style female side on the MEMS gyro. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to basically swap these two things out. Let me zoom out so you can better see what I'm doing. So again, the connector on the servo and this connector on the gyro, I'm just going to swap them out. And that will allow me to plug everything in the way I need to. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll get past this problem. Alright, so there we go. I swapped out the connector. As you can see, I've now got the Futaba style connector on the servo, which plugs into the receiver on the gyro. Just make sure your grounds are in the right place if you pull those plugs and you get your wires. Make sure that you got them on right. So brown is ground, black is ground. So make sure they're in the right direction. Orange or red are in the middle, and it's either white or yellow on the other end. So just make sure that those line up. And with that, now I can plug my non-Futaba style connector from the gyro into the receiver. There we go. So that problem is now solved. So anyway, that's it. Just wanted to go through that with you just to show you how that works if you've run into this and you weren't sure how to handle it. That's it. Thanks for watching, and as you can see, I'm back to building, so hopefully I'll catch you very soon on the next one.